of, just joy and happiness as we glorify the life giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie the First. We give thanks again for your presence with us, and as you know, this is the moment, the tiger's nest moment, the moment of expression, and we do have a few things to express this evening. But remember that this evening at 8 p.m. sharp, that's Eastern Caribbean time now. That will be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The moment of we're going to have a wonderful program. Of course, Rasta Roundtable is in full effect. And of course, Rasta Roundtable, myself, Ras Isern, and of course, Brother Ankoma Dread. We shall be gathering together. And this evening is going to be another spicy session, another spicy vibration. We've been getting some comments as it relates to some of the opinions that we express on Rasta Roundtable. But family, I've opened the door, If you want to be a guest on Rasta Roundtable, in fact, even if you don't want to be in Rasta Roundtable and you just want to be, you have an opinion and you think you have a view, or even if you have something to share historically, or you have an enlightenment, for the family and whatever subject area that you've heard us speak about, whether it's astrology, whether it's literature, whether it's history, whether it's medicine, whether it's biblical, as I always say, the door is open. Just contact us. Obviously, there's going to be some level of screening. I at least have to speak to you and see who you are and hear firsthand what you intend to come and present. And it's not about if it's against my views. This is not a my view thing. When I speak, it's my view. Like what I'm going to speak tonight is my view. But at 8 o'clock, the my view thing done, because we're going to have other people in the house and they'll be expressing their views. So it's all about that, family. We open the door. If you think you have an opinion, a lot of you, I disagree with this man is saying, and I disagree with that man is saying, and the other. Well, Rasta Roundtable is designed really for Rastafari. It is designed for Rastafari. The House of Priests is designed for Bobo Shanti. You can't be upset. We have something designed for everyone. So if you're none of the both, none of the above, it's all right. You can still contact me, brother. I have some information I want to share. They found this tablet 2 days ago in this place here, and it shows that we came from the planet. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's all right. I will entertain that. You don't have to worry at all, and we'll sit and talk about that. But just expect a bit of screening first, and then we can go through. So, hey, yeah, you don't know, email me, precise@institute@gmail.com, precise@institute@gmail.com. Say you launched a brand new book. Say you launch a brand new book and you want the world to know about the book. You can come and we sit and talk about the book. This is an open forum, This is about, not only edifying and strengthening each other, but even assisting ones to get whatever message out that they need to get out once it's wholesome, once it can be tolerated and good. Because especially in the world of knowledge and opinion, I may not agree with everything that somebody has to say. But if I can tolerate the discussion, it can pass. You get me? Very good. We're not promoting no gay business, not them things we don't tolerate. Them is the things we don't tolerate. Even the discussion, sometimes we don't tolerate it. Very good. Give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Now, what I'm going to do this evening, as I said, the time will be short, so I'm just going to have a quick discussion. I did a radio program today on the Voice of the People. That's a local radio station here in Antigua. Myself and Brother Paul Quinn, who is the host of that program, one of the hosts of that program. He was flying solo today. And I was even, I was on his program. The guest after me was the renowned Mervyn Richards of the Richards family fame, the brother of Sir Vivian Richards, who of course, excelled in the cricket arena. And he himself, Brother Mervyn Richards, is well known for his football achievements. But anyway, so me and Brother Quinn, we were speaking about the African History Month essay competition. Of course, you all would know that every year, this being the 10th year, I do an African History Month essay competition. And we offer prizes, which we have secured several prizes thus far. We have secured computer classes. We have secured what you may call it, computers, tablets and laptops, etc., for students between the ages of, or from the age of 7 to the age of 17 to come and experience a different vibration where they would, put their mind towards African history and heritage. So this is the 10th year that we're doing this. We ask the children to write an essay on what African history and heritage means to them. Obviously, this is something new to many, doesn't mean a thing to most, but they would like to get the prizes that have been offered. At least their parents wouldn't mind them getting the computer class. So they're nudged and they're encouraged to go and write and sign up for the essay competition. And it's just 300 words, Suzanne. It's just 250 words, Gordon, depending on what category Gordon or Susan will fall into. You have the juniors, you have the intermediates, and you have the seniors. So that is how it goes. So I'm just saying now that on the program, I had to highlight something that I heard this morning on another program, which was hosted by, interestingly, his sister, Dr. Jackie Quinn, a former Minister of Education, by the way. And on her program, she had as a guest the dean, the present dean and director of academic affairs at the University of the West Indies here in Antigua, Five Island campus. His name is Dr. Curtis Charles. And Dr. Curtis Charles was questioned as it relates to the genesis of a youth advocacy program that he is currently chairing. And in his response to the question, he made a statement that stood out to me. And in fact, I took the statement and I brought it to the program that I was on this afternoon with Brother Paul. And I highlighted to the people much of what I think I may highlight this evening. And in his comment, as it relates to the advocacy program in the nature, in the spirit of universities, he said, and I quote, "Well, it is the tradition of the academy and everywhere from as way back as the first university in Bologna, Bologna University in Europe. There was always the concept of bring the town to the garden." Now, what I'm saying, within his statement, he just expressed that the oldest university is Bologna University in Europe. This is his words. He actually stressed in Europe. This is in Italy, by the way, just to be more precise. You may say, so what? Well, number one, that is not the oldest university in the world. In fact, the oldest university and universities in the world are in Africa. In fact, we didn't even go as far as to express even China and India have older universities than Europe. And again, a person may say, okay, well, everybody make mistakes. Everybody don't know what you know, priest. But it's not about knowing what I know. And I have a lot more to know. The more you know is the more you realize how much you don't know. What I'm saying, family, and the reason why I had to highlight this is the highest institution of learning in the land. It's the university. It's the University of the West Indies branch here in Antigua at Five Islands. So if it's not the highest, it's definitely, as it relates to that mainstream education, it is the highest. It's above the college and it's above the schools, the secondary and primary schools, etc. And then now the head, basically the head of the college, the head of the university, pardon me, the dean and director of academic affairs of this university is saying to the rest of us that the first university, a subject that he should be very well versed in, this first university is in Europe, in Italy. He said it this morning. Family, I'm going to relay it for you so you could hear it with your own ears. And again, I'm not ridiculing the good doctor. In fact, his statement would be considered gospel or the truth in contemporary circles. We know that because we don't want to admit the glory of Africa. So Columbus will always discover the West Indies. And as I've heard certain learned people say, slavery was once legal. But to who? To who was slavery was once legal? Now hear me good, you know. Slavery was once legal. And I've spoken about this several times. On one side of the fence, that is true. But which side of the fence? Now you are from the other side of the fence where slavery was never legal. You were the one that were put into slavery. You were the one that were kidnapped. Since when kidnapping become legal? But the fella that was doing the kidnapping, he was the one that wrote it in his constitution that we're going to go down to Africa, go up to Africa and enslave some people. So it became legal to him. So how did you now, as the zebra, how did the lion catching you and eating you become legal? What Kool-Aid did you drink that you would have put yourself in the perimeters of that culture? Because that's what you have done, you know. Slavery was legal, yes, to a certain set of people. And slavery was definitely not legal, yes, to a next set of people. You are genetically, by DNA, connected to the people of whose culture slavery was not legal, but yet still, after your lengthy years of education, you just come out of university, you're telling me now, my name is Esquire, and you should know that slavery was once legal. Huh? After primary school, after kindergarten, after preschool, primary school, secondary school, college and university, you come with your bow tie telling me that slavery was once legal? I can prove it. I get your point. It is true. It was legal, but legal for who? It wasn't legal for you. And the fact that you're saying that, the fact that that's the stance that you take, that means you are identifying yourself with your enslaver. That's why we dress like them. That's why we speak their language. We understand the language part is almost not our fault. But how many of us try to learn something else? We understand the names we are stuck with is not necessarily our fault. But how many of us even think about getting something proper as far as our name, returning to your ancient name? We are the ones that make the choice of how we dress. So this is what I'm saying. We are comfortable in a culture, the same culture that trains us. They call it education. The same culture that trains us to come back from university and tell people that slavery was legal. And tell people that the oldest university was in Italy. I want you to listen to this.
Disengaged from the political process, a significant portion of the population is underrepresented and has little voice and influence in the decisions that affect their lives. This results in the undermining of political systems' representativeness. The University of the West Indies Five Islands campus is seeking to highlight the issues, the challenges, and the expectations of the youth. In other words, to give them a voice. The next installment of the Public Advocacy Series is going to be focusing on the youth. It's called A Conversation with Youth Leaders. And this morning, we are delighted to have on the Zoom platform Dr. Curtis Charles. He's the Dean and Director of Academic Affairs of the University of the West Indies, Five Islands campus, and he's also the Chair of the Public Advocacy Series. Good morning, Doc, and welcome to Observer AM.
Good morning, Dr. Quinn. Thanks for inviting us and thanks for having us, and looking forward to the discussion, and thanks for meeting you eventually.
Yes. We always seem to meet on virtual platforms, not in person. Yes. Now, we have seen several earlier iterations of this public advocacy series, the most recent ones being with the two political leaders of the two major political parties. Tell us a little about the genesis of this public advocacy series. Why did the university, in its wisdom, see the need to have this public advocacy?
Well, it's in the tradition of the academy. Everywhere from as way back as the first university, Bologna University in Europe, there was always the concept of bringing the tongue to the gong. And
that's it. You don't have to get comfortable in this speech. There's nothing more after that. That's it. Should I run it for you one more time? Let me see.
That's based from as way back as the first university, Bologna University.
Goes way back as to even the first university in Bologna. Now again, my family, I want to, make sure my point is clear. As you know, I like to deal with the psychological, state. Well, of mind, psychological, your mind, but still, our psychological state then, of us as a people. That's why you hear me talk of certain subject areas and in a way that you don't hear other people speak of the very same subject area. But anyway, let me stick to this specific subject area. I was thinking of actually branching off into something else, but let me stay here. So what the good doctor is saying here, and again, this is not even a, sort of chide on the doctor. Eh? He's just saying what he's been trained to say as well. And what he's saying would be considered the truth in certain circles. In fact, before I get to that, let me just read something here for you. Let me find it. And this is some information that I am actually getting directly from the university's website specifically. And I'm speaking of the University of Bologna, as he mentioned, the first university. And just give me a moment there. Let me pull up this information and you'll see where we are going. And it just says here, the origins of the University of Bologna go way back, and it is considered to be the oldest university in the Western world. Now, this is from the university's website. And in introducing itself, the university considers itself to be the university, the oldest university in the Western world. And when you say Western world, I don't know how many of us, all of that is psychology. Man, all of that is psychology. March the 21st is the beginning of spring. That is psychology. So what happened to September 21st? Oh, that is the beginning of autumn. Okay. You're talking in the northern hemisphere. Yeah. Well, tell me that. Don't just leave me hanging there. I would think March 21st is just the beginning of spring in general. This is deep, This is deep. It's just as deep as some of us saying that the world is given to us upside down there. So we say down south and up north. You understand? Good. Now, I may not agree with the upside down thing, but that's the level of psychological manipulation that this world does perpetrate is real. So the Western world is not necessarily in the West. Listen, oh my. The West is Europe, Europe. The West is really Europe. And of course, it would extend to the United States, Canada, and anyone that keeps up the Western world culture. But even in the time when this university, Bologna, was established in 1088, that was considered the Western world, and in the West was not the Western world, Okay. But we call that experience the Western world today. I'm just bringing that to your attention. Sometimes you hear the Western world, you may think it's the Western hemisphere. So keep that in mind. The Western world is not the Western hemisphere. There are places on the so-called Eastern hemisphere on this globe. That is in the West. But anyway, so the Bologna University is the oldest university in the Western world. And that is debatable too, But let's just leave it at that. That's 1088. Not 1088 BC, 1088 yesterday, less than 1,000 years ago. What you're trying to tell me? Listen, even when we say that Timbuktu is the oldest university, and Songhai and these were the oldest university in Ethiopia, in Africa, pardon me. Well, same thing in a sense. In Africa, that is debatable too. But what I'm saying, family, the same people that would have established these universities in Europe were the same people that studied under the same people that came to Africa to learn what they learned. So Thales and Hippocrates and Hippocrates, the one that they give the oath to, all the doctors give an oath, the Hippocratic oath to hypocrites. Hypocrites, right? Real hypocrites, They give the oath to hypocrites, the Hippocratic oath, hypocritical oath. You know why it's hypocritical? Because check what the Quran says. The Quran says that a hypocrite is worse than a devil. Because when the devil comes in, oh, here he comes, the devil. A hypocrite is going to come and pretend that he is with you when he's faking the whole show. Something else. And the term hypocrite come from Hippocrates. So the Hippocratic oath that the doctors have to take, because just being a doctor alone, the term doctor, when you doctor something up, what do you do to it? You fabricate it and change, you doctor it up. That's what the term means. So doctor this and doctor that. I'm telling you, that's why doctors practice. Where do you practice your craft? Well, I practice down. You practice it. You're a surgeon and you're practicing, And you may say, but these are just words. I know, of course, they're words. Sticks and stones can break my bones and all of that stuff. And words can do worse. Words can break people's heart. Words are swords. You got to check the words that they give us to speak. Yeah. So I know I'm going here and there, but it's the same subject. So the hypocrites and the thales and the Aristotle and Pythagoras and all of these people, Fibonacci, all of a sudden Fibonacci's name is on the golden spiral of creation. How did that become the Fibonacci series of numbers? Fibonacci, something that he so-called discovered. Even the astrological understanding of the planets and how they connect to plants and organs, this is what they learned from us. That's why they could name Mars after a god of war, because they comprehended the energy that the planet carried and what plants it was connected to. They learned all of this from us in ancient Kemet. They didn't learn it on the sidewalk in ancient Kemetic. They learned it in our universities. That is why their universities are built in the way that they are built, trying to mimic our ancient temples. Universities are really temples. That's why they're built like temples. That's why you have to pass through Doric and Corinth to get inside. The same Jachin and Boaz to get inside. They learned that from Ramesses the Great. They learned that from Akhenaten, the great architect. They learned that from Tutankhamun. They learned that from Seti the Great. They learned that from I. Talking about the first university is in Bologna, a heap of Bologna, in Italy, 1088. It should be a shame, yo. The highest representative. This is how sick the system is. The highest representative, hear me good, man, the highest representative of the highest institution of learning or institute of learning here in the island, the University of the West Indies, its chief representative, the dean and director of academic affairs, has to me expressed that he has learned his lesson well, because his statement is not a slip of the tongue or even the fault of the mind. It is an accepted fact in certain circles that the first university is in Europe. But even the website of the university clarifies, I would say, irons out the wrinkles again for clarity, that we are the oldest university in the Western world, in Europe. So I'm just saying that to say that my black brother, even just to make that statement without even getting it correct, at least even the university knows enough to clarify that, hey, we're the first around here. Because in ancient Africa, we've been sending out the knowledge universally for thousands of years. The temple at Karnak, university. The great pyramids, universities. Haremaket, universities. The Sphinx. The temples of Lalibela, universities. That is why when you go into a lot of these temples, Dendara, the temple of who it is, Hathor, and you look at the ceiling, you see the whole zodiac belt express. That's a university. That's astronomy for you there. When you go into the temple at Abydos, you see the tank, and you see the hovercraft, and you see the helicopter, and you see the light bulb with the filament as a snake. High engineering technology. That is why the Moors could have that level of technology when they went into Spain and have the people them establishing street lights, the man, in the 12th and 13th century in Europe by the Africans from North Africa that came over the Mediterranean Sea and brought civilization to Europe. What you talking about? First university. I expect Columbus to say, oh, we discovered over here. And he lied to you because he knew where he was going. Oh man, he had us on the ship navigating the stars for him. But you know, it's just like Brother Khalid taught us. When you have a little baby and the baby, you know, is inquisitive, and the baby gets up and goes to the drawer, goes to, you know, the cupboard or whatever, and opens the cupboard and everything falls out. To the baby has just discovered something new. You as the parent, you knew what, you the one that put it there. So, I mean, that's nothing new to you. In fact, you're catching a fit now. Oh man, I took all morning to put all the knives away, and you just come and drop it on the ground. Okay, it's all right, baby. Don't cry. But the baby just discovered what was in there. Maybe the baby would even do that again, because now the baby knows. So these people that are talking about they just discovered this and discovered that, they're babies. They're babies. Even the fellas them digging up the things in the sand in Kemet, these are babies. That's why they can say they just discovered. You understand? James Bruce discovered the headwaters of the Nile in 1792. Now, how on earth? I mean, give me a break. In 1792, James Bruce just discovered the headwaters of the Nile. Maybe he discovered it for him. And, you know, these fellas, they never discover anything, you know. Is people from the land always carry them to the spot, you know. Anybody you hear say they discover anything in Africa, Livingston and all of these people, is the people that know the place, carry them and say, look at there. And then they go and take a picture. And all of a sudden is they discover it. That's for their world. That's their history. They're looking at it from their perspective. And on one level, you cannot be upset with them for looking at it from their perspective. Remember, that's the nature to the man. They're looking at it from their perspective. So when you now, on the other side of the fence, telling me, I don't expect you now to tell me that James Bruce discovered the Nile. You, man, come on, man. You are the people, you are the one that built the pyramids on the Nile. And now you telling me that James Bruce discovered the Nile when me and your great-great-great-grandmommy was around. That's when James Bruce discovered the Nile. 400 years ago. Come on, man. Wake up now. Not even 400, say 18. Look at it. 200-300 years ago. That's when James Bruce discovered the Nile, Rasta. I expect James Bruce to tell me that, but not you. I expect James Bruce to tell me slavery was legal, but not you. How you come to say that? You know what's your problem? You went to James Bruce University. That's your problem. You are a graduate, one of the highest of the graduates. You're in the top 10 of the James Bruce Community College. Let me guess, you went to James Bruce High School. No? Oh, Christopher Columbus. Well, I mean, come on, high school. And whose primary school you went to? Queen Elizabeth. You see, check the pattern. So you will graduate with all of these degrees talking about slavery was legal. What did he say over there? He said Bologna is the first college in the world, first university. Yeah, make that make him the head of the college. Yes, he's what we need over there. But my family, that's what it is. That is exactly what it is. And to me, that was just highlighted today. It was as if the clouds just moved and the sun just began to shine. That the head of our highest body of education, institute of education in the land, the highest representative of that could come and tell us that the first university, and he's speaking of a subject that is directly connected to his position, the head of a university. And he said, well, the first university of which we are all taking an example from come out of Italy. That's what he says. So the first church come out of Rome too. Yeah, totally forget anything about even Kemet and Sudan and Ethiopia. The first church come out of Rome. Even Syria had churches before Rome. But we're just trained to believe it's a European thing. All of these inventions that wow, the camera and wow, the telescope and wow, the bifocals and wow, electricity and wow, the washing machine and wow, the stoplight and wow, the this and the wow, the that. Who is the real McCoy? Who is the real McCoy? Because they steal so much of our inventions and so many of our patents and copyrights, and we have to ask, who is the real McCoy? So remember, our history has been hijacked for so long. So when you now come in them high seat and high position and assisting the enemy to hijack our history, this is why they don't accept Black heritage and history. When a man could be talking like that and he is a chief gatekeeper of the youth's education and you're bringing Afrocentricity to him, you wonder why they reject it? And then the other set of people swearing allegiance to King Charles III. You wonder why they're not quick to accept it? So as I said, family, that was almost like a ray of light, like a sort of moment. Like imagine that this is the situation here. When you can clearly observe that we as a nation, as a people, we are, as I would say, going through a time of turmoil, going through a time of serious dilemma when it comes to the young ones, when it comes to the youths. And this is why I will constantly push that it is our Afrocentricity. It is the knowledge of self that will bring us back, bring the youths back, bring them forward into a reality of themselves. So again, the phrase that a people without knowledge of self is like a tree without roots. And keep in mind again that when you take the roots away from the tree, the process of the tree dying is a process that takes time, but it will eventually die. So you cut down a tree today and you come back tomorrow, the tree is still there. The leaves may still be on the tree, albeit you could obviously see that the leaves will be somewhat curling up and looking to what? Wither away. And then you come back in the next couple of days, then you notice that the leaves are starting to drop off from the very same tree. And then when you observe yourself and you look into it again, you see that even when you come back the next day, you'll notice that even the leaves themselves, as I said, falling off of the tree. And then eventually now You have before they fall off, they may turn yellow and crisp up and all of that. And then you have this log with branches, which is the old tree. And then the tree itself now will have to take a time when it will stay there and become drier, drier, drier. And then you can use it for firewood. I'm saying that we as a people have been cut away from our roots for some time now, several generations. And any of you who are quote unquote old enough to be able to analyze, like when you were young and what you observed and your grandparents and compare it and contrast it to today, you would see that we are a tree that have been cut away from our roots. And as the generations go by, the tree is getting more, to the stage of becoming firewood then. So that is why maybe your grandmother had a certain essence of Africa with her. Maybe that's why your grandfather behaved in a certain way that today's men do not behave that way anymore. Because as the generations come down the line, the wet towel of culture has been wrung out until, and now it's put on the line to be dried until it's totally dried. And that's where we are going, because we are separated from our culture. We are cut away from our roots. The tree not going to just rake one time. It's going to take time. And we are the tree that have been cut away from our roots, and the end result is firewood. The end result is firewood. And if you look at the generations going down the line, if we do not reparate the mind, firewood is where we are headed. Family, hey, listen. Remember, we have a special program this evening, and we will be going into Rastafari and the God concept. And that will be with myself, Brother Isern, and Brother Anko Madrid. They must be preparing themselves to step in now. And we have a special guest with us this evening. We're going to have Brother Hijacking, that is Prophet Jeff. He also will be on the panel, and he also will be taking part of the reasoning. So don't go anywhere. We're definitely going to go straight into that right about now. Brother Isern and Brother Anko Madrid, definitely, I'm sure, are on standby. And this is going to be a serious discussion. Rastafari live forevermore. Yeah. Give thanks, life giver, and the keeper of life. Hey, let me just remind you, if you are not a subscriber to the Tiger's Nest radio program, make sure you become a subscriber to the Tiger's Nest radio program. It's a very simple thing to do. All you have to do is email us and let us know, hey, I'd like to be a part of the subscription team. And this is something that will definitely be done, and done in good timing. Yeah. So family, as I said, don't go anywhere. You don't know if you know your Bible, and you do not know your history. The knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. But of course, it takes some real eyes to realize the real lies that are amongst us. As we are cutting and we are clearing, as we are renting and we are tearing all obstacles from out of our way. Rastafari round table, man. Sure. Blessed love once again. I am here once more, still giving thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, and give thanks to the Rasta Round Table family, those who have definitely tuned in for this specific program, just coming off of the Tiger's Nest, and giving thanks, for the strength, and give thanks to all those who are with us. Hey, we glorify the life giver and the keeper of life, and we glorify Father and Mother of creation, one balance, the power and might of the Holy Trinity. And of course, this is Radio Anu, the international flavor, the universal spice. All praises to Emperor Haile Selassie I in all good doings and sayings. It is a great joy, family, that the whole house is with us. We're not going to waste any time this evening. We're going to go straight into the program. Remember, this is Rasta Round Table, definitely this dealing with issues surrounding the Rastafari movement. And of course, as a staple, we have Brother Ras Isern with us, and we have Brother Anko Madrid. Let me just say, blessed love, Ras Isern, you were there?
Yes, I am.
Live and direct. And let me just touch Brother Anko Madrid, blessed love, my Lord.
King Rastafari.
And we have a special visitor with us this evening, We have the one Honorable Prophet Jeff, one Hijacking mindset. You there, my Lord?
Blessed love, honorable family.
Oh, give thanks.
Rastafari.
Yes, brother.
Thanks to each one's in the house, Well, listen, we're not going to even hold up this evening, I know that even with the previous discussions that we were having, I think this kind of climaxed it to a degree where even Rasta was suggesting, listen, we should have a program directly dealing with the concept of God. And of course, he has been expounding on certain levels to I and I, if you want to say behind the scenes. And I know a couple of those programs, you didn't really get to express yourself to the best way you wanted to. So, once it's okay with the other brethren, I would just like the eye to begin and just set the stage for the program. And, we'll just humbly listen and then we join the discussion. That's good with the eye?
Yes, I. No worries.
So,
glad to.
And I'm not getting no feedback, so I wouldn't mute no one's mic, because I know and sometimes somebody might want to interact, and I know you wouldn't even mind that. So, and I'm getting no feedback, so we leave all mics open. Yes, my lord, go through.
Okay, yes. Well, as I reasoning on the last show about the Yogi brethren.
Yes.
That say that he met His Majesty and so forth. Well, in my mind, I'm looking into what the significance of this would be. To me, the whole idea seemed to support this concept of His Majesty being God literally, meaning the flesh. And he cannot die. His flesh cannot perish. Like he have a different flesh from every other human being. The idea of holding on to ideas like this, you understand, is what I see coming out in the whole enthusiasm around the account of this Yogi brethren. Some years ago, watching an interview between Muta Baruka and Martin Moplano, Plano utter a vibe where he say that in light of certain things that we're learning in the now about the non-historicity of the Bible, at least the events of the Bible and so forth, and different other sickles that I and I encountering in dealing with the Bible from a literal standpoint, cause Martin Moplano to basically declare that Rasta need a new faculty of interpretation. For Iman personally, Iman was already growing, already arrived, as a matter of fact, into that particular perspective that Martin Moplano was referring to in terms of a faculty of interpretation. Because traditionally, from the inception of Rastafari, I and I attitude towards the Bible in terms of interpretation was more or less the same as the Christian. Literal. You understand?
Sure.
And so, as knowledge increased, brethren, because I remember when I rise up around the 90s, Skyman Chad start around the turn of 1991. And in them days, you never hear about balance, energy. You never know so much about Egypt and what the Egyptian spiritual system was about. Them time they may even recall ever hear the term mythology. For example, in the early days when we rise up. You understand? Now, these things are mainstream. And there are a lot of information teaching you what these mythologies are all about and so forth. What I man see over time is that all this information, knowledge increase and all this information will come to the fore. It's impacting naturally our traditional view and ways of interpreting scriptures and so on, particularly where His Majesty is concerned. When I man consider, for example, the nature, and anybody that into theological study, that look into what theologian does, you'll find this quite easily. Theologians are people, because the term theo means God, and ology is study of, so it's study of God. But it's a curious thing, because if this God that we refer to, which everybody basically agree is transcendent, then how can you study something that you cannot fully comprehend? You understand? So when you consider that, the whole idea about God, because God is an idea, it's a concept in human mind, and it evolves over time. You see, when you consider that those points, you realize that what we have in terms of viewing God as a person, as something that has to develop. Because if this entity transcends man understanding, transcends man comprehension, to the point that the Africans and them, the Akans and them say that God is unknowable, that's their starting point. God
You there, brother Isaiah? You there, brother? Brother Isaiah is gone there from us. And not only was he doing good, he was actually getting to where I think he started to get hot. All he was saying before was just like a preface to where he going, you know, because I know for sure he just started to go where he was going when he started to bring in the Ashanti and the no name for God and all of these things. But I don't even think he said that yet, but I have an idea where he's going. But Ankoma Dread, I saw you going and come out a few times. I hope the issues aren't contagious, you know. You wanted to, I know the king going to come in soon again, you know, but before we bring in our special visitor, you wanted to say anything concerning what the brother said thus far, or you had a little problem to you going out and coming in?
No, well, I think I get it just what you were saying. I feel I listening to see where he was carrying the reasoning, you know, because he started saying that Rastafari basically had a very literal interpretation of the scriptures, and there's a true notion, no, and like the same thing, like when I would make reference to the imagery, no, or the revelation imagery, the emperor coming down on a chariot and thing with lions and thing, it come like it had Rastaman, it have even now Rastaman with that concept in their mind about reality, about what's going on happen and certain things like that. So up inside like symbolism and certain esoteric symbolisms, within time, certain people lost the way to interpret these things, or it's hidden. So it come like certain people that take them things as literal things. But then as well as we're saying too, like how they talk about the conquering line and the tribe of Judah and them things in the scriptures, and then the Ethiopian monarchy hold these titles and these kind of vibes now, and then it come like the enactment of certain scriptural things within what was written long time. You could see it playing out in our history concerning Emperor Haile Selassie the Fourth.
Even though it was mythology as such.
Yeah. So it come like certain patterns, or you know, because you see, prophecy is something where basically like there's a prophecy is a belief that something written now going and happen in the future. You know what I mean? And it's a kind of serious thing to know, well, if a prophet be real or if that can even be realistic, you know? So, yeah, I was just listening to the reasoning. I want to hear what the brother I just when my insight out to say about them vibes.
My Lord. I know you yourself wanted to hear where Isa was carrying it, but pardon us for that one day, but I don't know if you have anything you want to bring to the conversation. The Rastafari and the concept of God is really the subject area. Rasta was going into the African concept of God, but again, have to give him his justice. I don't know fully where he was going, but I have an idea. Anything that I want to put on the board, my Lord, while he's trying to come back in? King Hijacking. This is the Honorable Prophet Jeff again. We give him thanks for his presence with us right here on Rasta Round Table. Honorable Prophet Jeff, most ones know him as King Hijacking, the mindset. Yes, my Lord. Blessed love, man.
Blessed love, honorable priest. Blessed love, honorable virgin. I don't remember their name still, but blessed love, my Lord. You know, give thanks.
Yes, I respect.
Ankoma.
The Jed.
Ankoma Dread.
Ankoma is one of them Ghanaian thing, isn't it? We call the symbols. What was the symbols again?
You're talking about that Dinkra symbol.
Right.
The Yakan symbol.
Yeah, give thanks.
It have one curiously named Akoma. Akoma.
Yes.
And that one mean love or something, so I believe.
Right.
It's a heart symbol. It look like a heart symbol.
And the king.
But
No, you good.
But yeah, as far as I understand, my name related to the day I come forward to, you know. Yes, and that's some other reasons with it. But that's my real name too. That's my middle name of my father gave me still. And Kuma and the Jed is the stability.
To the great, I just was just stepping in, coming in from Ghana too, so I just kind of made the link. I see Ras Aishan is on. Just give us a second, and Ras Aishan, I'm gonna just make King Hijacking even make an introduction, and we will return to Ras Aishan, get the fullness of what he's saying, and then King Hijacking, we can even elaborate more.
Rastafari.
Still free up in
Yes, honorable family. Yeah, man, you give thanks. Want to greet the item officially still in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, also Empress Menen I, Holy Emmanuel I, King Selassie I Jah, Rastafari. Give thanks to the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress through Church of Salvation. You give thanks, all ones and ones, all honorable priests, honorable empress, prince and princesses, my lord and empress. It's good to be here, my lord. Give thanks for the invitation. It's a joy and an honor and a pleasure. Yeah. Interesting name with the Virgin and Coma. While I was in Ghana, there was a place in Accra that was called Akuma Village. And Akuma Village is where most of the artwork in terms of craft and building drums and all the drums and the craft them that we might see that comes out in the West Side, some of the things them that we see in videos and things on YouTube. Akuma Village is where the main place for them type of textile and craft work still. you know. So interesting, you know. Interesting name, Akuma. Ankuma Dread, yes.
Yeah, well, Ankuma, it had to do with being the last born too. Last born.
Oh, the seal it, and you were the last born.
Yes, I am. Yeah, man.
Yes, my lord, got you. You come to yourself.
Yes, Baba. Yeah, man. So,
African
yeah, Ghana. You know, we've been to Ghana, and it's beautiful. You know, we just speak on that a little, and then Brother Isern can follow in again. Yeah, man, beautiful Ghana, Africa. Beautiful, my brothers and sisters. You know, I would urge ones and ones to really, you know, start think more, you know, of going to Africa and making it a reality. You know, because what I go and see, I see that Africa need us, and it need serious ones, you know, ones who are really serious about Africa, going back to Africa and living in Africa. You know, Africa need us. So it's a beautiful place. You know, is, you know, when we chant and say, boy, you know, Ethiopia is where God and goddesses love to be. You know, that is a reality. You know, you feel at home. You know, you feel at home. You really feel at home. Seriously. You know. So, but the place is beautiful. The place is beautiful. Words can't really express. You know, and you know, my brothers and sisters there, you know, it's beautiful, man. Selassie, I know. But the place is rapidly developing, see, and it really need us, because if it's rapidly developing at this pace, and it's not just Africans are there developing or building infrastructure, you have other nations of people that are there. See, so I and I as Rastafari, see, because I won't generalize, as Rastafari, Virgin and Sistren, we need to get our act together and start making that, you know, making it a reality. I think one of the main things that we need to look on like ganging up, you know, teaming up, Zane, with finance and go in and build things, you know what I mean, and generate income that will sustain us while being there, and that will able even aid ones out here in the West who we might deem as poor and have not, who can't find it, you know, but them want to go home to Africa. You know, we could even aid those brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? If we really serious, team up, go in, build things that gonna generate income, because there's a lot of finance in Africa. Remember, all of the resources that we live out here in the West, especially where I am now in the UK, is from Africa. The majority of it is from Africa. So, you know, the finance in Africa, we can be better off, far 10 times better off in Africa than out here, so in the West. So no matter if it's Jamaica, it doesn't matter if it's England, it doesn't matter if it's Canada or America, we can be 10 times better off if we strategically plan, Zane, and go in and do the thing properly. We cannot fail. Fail is not in the script at all.
Yes, my lord, sorry for coming. Yeah, well, as you know, me and the King will be doing a special program. That's me and the I. Going into the full visit to Africa. And even all of that, what you're saying is still, in a sense, the concept of God, and I have it for self, But just through the interest of time, I'm going to come forward to the guy. I'm going to make Rasta just come back in again and seal up his portion. And we'll come forward to the guy again to see if we can, work with what he's saying here. Yes, Rasta, welcome in again. Rasta, Rastafari.
Yeah, I'm on here in the eye.
Got you.
Saying. What I'm asking, should I take a cue from somewhere? I'll just continue.
No, just continue. Just continue. Because it's Ashanti, not Ashanti. It's the Ashanti concept of God you were going into now. The Akan.
Yeah.
Right. And when we were kind of, if you want to say, guessing where you were going. But go through. You go through.
Yeah. Well, what I'm showing is just the progression of things, really, right? Because, as we say, God is an idea, it's a concept in human mind. That is as tangible as it gets in terms of putting a finger on this thing called God. You understand? And it's an idea that developed over time. And I was just referencing the Akan system, where they start from the premise that God is unknowable. In the Akan thinking, if you can apply a name to this entity, then you can control this entity. So they have no name at the most essential, sublime state of this God. They have no name for it. But then, from that transcendent or abstract place, coming into this realm, they now set up a whole hierarchy. They imagine a whole hierarchy in terms of how all the different deities affect the whole creation of the physical universe. So they create their concept where you have a God for each day of the week and so on and so forth. I'm just alluding to these things to show that this God that we're talking about, it starts out as a concept, as an idea, and then evolve over time into different things. I reference the Manly Key Hall lecture that I man sent with the eye, God and Man, where he also was basically just outlining the whole progression and the development of the concept of God. Showing you when we start out by an abstract idea and we use a rock to objectify that abstract idea. So in the early days, people just there beckoning unto objects. All right, as a way of relating to this entity, this mysterious entity, that they know how to exist by a stroke of logic, because if you have a creation, they must have a creator. But no one can put a finger on this entity like. You understand? So early man had to objectify this entity in the form of these objects, as I say, started out with a rock. That concept developed to the point that they start applying it to animals too. Hence, you have in certain cultures, when you go way back, they will have a certain animal that they relate to as a god. Not because the animal itself is a god, but they're using the animal as a symbol of an idea. Okay? And then finally, we reach the point now of bringing this idea into personified form. So then we create mythological story and giving this entity a specific personality and identity and so forth. So if we are to take all those things into consideration, right? The idea of God and what that is, the fact that this is to transcend our comprehension and so forth. And then we are going to say, okay, at this point, well, Haile Selassie is God. Then we have to reconcile the idea, that idea, with the nature of things. The nature that said this entity transcends our comprehension. You see where I'm coming from? And the effective way to do that is that whoever the persona is that you're referring to as being the God or the Messiah in flesh is to understand that you're making a symbolic gesture. You're not actually saying that this specific personality, this specific flesh is God, and like all the other existing human beings are something else. That's not what you're saying. Because you're not ascribing immortality and godhood to the flesh.
You there? That's what I said. All right, family, give thanks exactly. Let me see now. 23 minutes, that is. Moving up onto the hour of 9 o'clock Eastern Caribbean time. You're in tune to Radio Anu. This is the international flavor, the universal spice. You know, the honorable brother just made a nice speech and he disappeared again. This is Rasta Roundtable. Myself, Rasta and brother Ankoma the Jed, and we have a special visitor, King Hijacking. I wanted to ask him a direct question, direct, but you know, since he kind of disappeared, before I come to you again, brother Ankoma Jed, let me just give back our visitor the mic again to see if you'd like to even comment now on what was said thus far, because I had questions, so I'd assume ones have things in their mind concerning what was said, especially that last part. Prophet Jeff, anything to add to that, my lord?
Rastafari, yes, honorable priest. I was in Ghana. While I was in Ghana, I was in Cape Coast, and I was like almost in front of the dungeon, out in the sea, and some rocks, you know, but it was out in the sea, and where I was standing, the stars, when I look in the sky, the stars was very close. Very close. They're near, like you could really touch them. You know, that's how close they were. And it made me think that, all right, if in Ghana, if they are so close, I would like to see what it's like in Kemet, place like Kemet, in so-called Egypt. See it? Because if them look so close, something tell me say, when we see plane, the modern day plane that we have are what we might term as modern day anyway. See it? I strongly think that they have been more improved, are more sophisticated type of aircraft than what we're using now. See, if we really take way probably nearer to the stars, or what is beyond there. You see, that is what I did get from, you know, standing in a little space there. Still, it might sound weird. See, but in terms of God now and God concept and thing, It was even last night, first night, we were having a reasoning on the program. And was talking about Revelation 5. Seeing? And who was ready to open the seven seals, and who took the seven seals and loose it. Now, the one who was worthy to lose the seven seals was the one who was sitting on the throne. Saying, but one step forward, which was the Lamb, was also worthy. I think him surprised everyone. Saying, but the interesting thing when you go over into Revelation 7, it speaks about an angel having the seal of the Most High God. Now, this was not the Lamb, and it was not the one who was sitting on the throne. Saying it was an angel with the seal, or one of the seal, that was beckoning, was telling four other angels to listen, you have to wait before you do on our door, because we have to make sure say all are just servants get sealed. Now, my question is, who is that angel? Because he must have been worthy to have one of the seal also. So the thought of man of right is God in flesh, and man of wrong is Satan in flesh, is a reality, because it showed that not only the one that was worthy to open the seal that was sitting on the throne, the one also without any spot, that was spotless, and also this other angel now show that if you are right, because that angel had to be living right, you know, him couldn't have been one of the angel that who have been kicked out. Saying he must have been a righteous angel, must have been a man of right, which is God in flesh. So, you know, the God we really are talking about, if we want boil it down to that, is still I and I. See it? And as we start out with the stars, them, there something happened to us. Why we can't communicate certain way, we cannot do certain things that we used to do. And when I go to Africa, I see that for real. There's something that happened to us. See? Yes, I. So is us, is I and I, is the God, and the God is them that they here. I think we, you know, if we really look upon it, you know, you see, earth is a place, as them said, the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, and they and those that dwell therein. Earth is a place, when we look upon it, there's always development is going on. Everywhere in the world today is development, building. Seeing? It leaves me to believe, say, boy, we not get the full picture of what really take place, See, we're not really getting the full picture of what really take place, because when you look on programs like Stargate and you see man I go through some portal, you have to really wonder if these things if they are fiction, as them call them, or they are really reality. But because them term it as fiction, it make you believe, say, boy, this not real, This is just something. It's just fictitious. It's just something from a man's imagination. But man still was created in the image and likeness of God, don't?
Is that level there? I didn't want to even put the brother Icer, I wanted to give thanks for that input too, because the word's very clear, the input very, very clear, even the way they analyze it from the stars coming down and the revelation and before I wanted to ask you two questions, King Icer, and I don't know if Brother Anko Madrid, I could ask him before they come in.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What I was saying, my lord. Okay. Even with the description earlier, and for those who are coming in, give thanks. This is Rasta Roundtable for sure. Myself, we have Rasta Icer, we have Anko Madrid, and of course we have the Honorable Rast Prophet Jeff with us, King Hijacking mindset, and we're talking about the Rastafari and the concept of God. And Rasta Icer began speaking of the African concept of God. You kind of break it down, from, I would say, a primitive level. Even when you start to talk about us identifying things like rocks and maybe trees and animals and so and so and so. Okay. And then you brought it home to, of course, the emperor. Is Rasta Roundtable, so is the emperor we have to be focusing on and see how all this apply. Right. So what I was asking now is that, and since King Hijacking came in with that reasoning there, okay, since we say we graduating, say we listen, most of us coming out of Christianity, we had this kind of Jesus mentality and whatever. Let's just say that's the case, but we are graduating now. We are getting deeper knowledge and we're having a better understanding, even as it relates to Haile Selassie first. Okay, good. Now, wouldn't you agree with even what Hijacking was saying, is that within all of I and I, there's that God then, within all of I and I, there's that level of I guess, higher realms that dwell within us. Whatever being a God is, a creator, sustainer, higher being, higher intellect, whatever a God's supposed to be, it dwells in all of I and I as creation. But, hear the background, King, but wouldn't you admit that the reason why you could esteem even His Majesty, even above us, is because of how he has portrayed himself to the Godhood, even if we can reach to that standard, but he has reached to that standard, and he would have also fall in line with many of what people call prophecies that we could also call mythos. Because remember, even this program we have tonight, is building into this level of reasoning now, So I will ask the question again. I think you understand what I say. What do you have to say about that, King Isaiah?
Well, it's a couple of things. First, let me start off on this standpoint. We have to, what's the motive right? In acknowledging His Majesty is the motive to have somebody like how people run around and have one politician to vote for. Is the whole thing about you finding your true self, your divine self.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Because I think the idea is when I and I make with chat, we make with chat to develop one relationship with God indiscriminately.
Sure.
As we study scriptures and other reason and differences, we arrive at who this person is symbolically, who this entity is symbolically, a part of the whole mystical, the whole revelation of things. Because the same journey that we travel internal from Babylon, which means carnal consciousness without any spiritual awareness, to that point where you develop awareness and go into maturity, that whole journey that we travel inside ourselves. Mankind as a collective is traveling that same journey ideologically. There is a collective consciousness in the planet. Now, if on a personal level, in your personal consciousness, there is such a thing as the divine, a divine character, which is the ideal state for you to be at. Then in the whole social movement in the earth, there will be a persona that come and play that symbolic role too. That persona, I and I declare, is Haile Selassie. You understand?
Yes,
So
exactly.
the whole thing where we read the scripture and we can follow, as we say, the prophet, the prophecy, and arrive at His Majesty. That is because that same roadmap as you travel internal from Babylon to Zion are the same journey that the human collective are traveled. This is the reason why they say we're in the Aquarian age, and this is the age of enlightenment. When man can see certain heights, man can see certain truths that they know in the sea before and so forth. It is because an evolution in thought, in spiritual growth is happening collectively, as it also happens on an individual level. So you see, for I know, I bring down everything related to His Majesty in terms of interpretation. I bring it down to an interpretation that support the idea of me becoming self-realized.
Okay, yeah, but quickly, quickly. King, I get this, But what I want to iron out, and even this is for even me personally, what I want to iron out with this one here. Because I think I know they are enough to understand that they have different levels of interpretation. So, okay, for example, there was a lecture that Bobby Hemmett did on the Lion of Judah. Long time aside, it was on one of them rectangular cassette thing, what you call it, things, VHS business. Bobby Hemmett, I was watching that, I think it was in St. Croix or St. Thomas. Wonderful lecture, man. He brought in Rastafari a bit, but Bobby Hemmett deal with a lot of occult vibes and metaphysics. So he broke it down beautifully. I always wish I could just see that lecture again. But so what I'm saying is, the concept of the Lion of Judah, the concept of Melchizedek, these concepts have different levels of understanding. That's why if you go into the church, you hear about the Lion of Judah. If you go into the Freemasonic temple, you hear about the Lion of Judah too. And they might portray it on a different level, and the lion's power and the resurrection. But what I'm saying, these are different levels. It's just like the atmosphere have different levels, stratosphere and dysphere and exosphere. But now the level now, wherein there was an individual man now, even if one would argue about the Solomonic lineage and all these things, that's not the argument, but that it has stamped itself on history. The Solomonic lineage, the Lion of Judah, and plus the works, he done seal the works, in the sense that what we know of him done seal, and it's 100% marks again. I think we all can agree with that. And plus it fits the description of all of these direct prophecies. Let's be honest. These prophecies don't fit the description of me, you, or anybody else on the panel. It fit the description of Haile Selassie. Not that they don't have prophecies that fit our description, you know, but them prophecies that we're speaking of fit his description. So should we have a place where we must revere that to say, hey, listen, even though the Lion of Judah concept can, you know, apply to all of us on a certain level, we have to keep in mind that this individual fulfilled that level of the prophecy, not me or you. We have our own levels that we fulfill, and we are sharing now in the higher realms of what that divine King of Kings mean, the Lion of Judah mean, you know,
I got you, man.
Okay, got you.
We got you. And he right in front of you, may wonder why you're not acknowledging it.
Tell me what.
Why you think man hail in the name of the king? And not in Bob Marley or Bunny Wailer or Aki Becker? It's because of the same thing you just explained. Because of this role that this man play in human history. He have a particular place, a particular reverence within an I consciousness who recognize this. No question about that. Nobody can be no King of Kings and Lord of Lords to repeat what the king do. Because nobody can repeat that speech there in a Geneva. That they like who invent one chair, if a man invent one chair, another man can't come and say invent one chair. You can improvise from the idea, but once the idea don't get out, what you can't come and say you first do them. The idea out is out. You see, no other man can come in a human history and perform that role that the king performed. That they may be overwhelming courage. That they may be supreme courage in the face of overwhelming danger. Remember them when human beings just hear about mustard gas and then some for the first time, Jed. And have bomber drop on them and then something. And I like, no. We have things like them shoot laser and them things. At them time they a horror. Human being never experienced them something. And he had the courage for not just wilt and just accept defeat. But go and talk. Put himself right up there in the midst of them where assassinators and all kind of people. He had the courage to go and lay down the moral foundation that should guide human relation. We look on the works too simple and tends to look for all kind of superstitious, theory, romanticizing all up in the sky kind of thing and supernatural. You understand? The work, they are huge work. If you study Aki Becker work and the things that he keep talking about that the emperor did, at them someday you emphasize. You know, talk about walking from water. You understand? At them they're the real works. I would say if a man have no morality, he like one ship without one rudder. This was the foundation of the world because of the first time in human history that we have one organization that look into the welfare of all humanity and how we relate nation to nation. And this organization started at a time where stronger nation may run from weaker nation. A conquest may be the order of the day. Which means that all small people would under subjugation forever if you not have one intervention of morality. Because remember, you can't make gun bigger than them. In a main sense, you go and try to say, well, you can build up weapon. Most of the time you build up weapon, and them the factory manufacture it and you buy it from them. The only thing you can use for bring any kind of peace and equity among humankind is a standard of morality that everybody subscribe to.
Totally agree. King, let me just come in there, you know. I will make well said. Well said.
Yes, sir.
Question perfectly answered in my point of view. Give thanks. I mean, clear as crystal. Brother Anko Madrid. I know. We're gonna have to seal up at about 25 past this evening, eh? Yeah.
All right.
Yes, my love. We have time. We have a good little time.
Yes, I.
Nice reasoning, man.
Where's
He's graduate to this reasoning.
of course.
Yes, go through. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Nah, yes, I just listening to what the king was saying there. You have something particularly you want me to comment on?
Well, no,
my lord?
the guy has been sitting back for a while. So I know.
Well, I sure you realize is listen, I just listen more than talk. You know what I mean? I just like to listen and think before I talk,
I know if I tell you which door to come in there, I will just take it up and come in. But no, you choose a door, man, because plenty things were said. You choose a door. I kind of like what King Hijacking was saying with when he highlight the prophecy of the other angel, because I always say that is and again, that's why I was even presenting myself to King Hijacking in that way. Even when you read the prophecy of Revelation, okay, he talk about the man sitting on the throne. He talk about the lion and the lamb. King Hijacking was showing about this angel and four the angel. But if you read that book, it's a heap of angels. Then you have 7 angels coming out of this temple. Then the next 7 angels flying out from over there. Then this angel standing up in the sun. And then this one blowing a trumpet going across and 2 more falling. So the point I'm making is that in the prophecy of this revelation, they have space for enough of I and I. So which angel are you? You know, which angel are you? Where do you fit in the prophecy? And what I think King Hijacking was saying is that all of these quote unquote heavenly bodies, you know, occupy the godhood in a sense, you know. So maybe you could come in, chime in on that level if you desire.
All right, well, you see, the angels and the angelology, that's a whole study too, you know. Everything does have a whole set of them. So it had the archangels and the cherubims and the seraphims and different levels now. And inside of different traditions, it had different forms of angelology. In the Judaic tradition, over in Islam, they're talking about the jinns and different other spirits and thing, you know. But then inside the African tradition, you talk about like the Necheru, you know, and different or the Orishas and them kind of thing. So it coming in like they're talking about aspects of divinity. So even self in the Revelation, they're talking about them various things. It have different ways. It probably have 1,000 ways of interpreting, like how the brethren Hijacking mindset. He give his take into what when he read that scripture, what he drawing out it now. But then it have every single person then might read that, or different schools are taught and all of them kind of thing. But within Rastafari and the God concept, as what we saying within the progress of Rastafari through time in the early 1900s, most of Rastafari coming out of the Christian traditions, Methodist tradition, and certain Protestant Anglican thing in Jamaica. And then and they had literal expectations for apocalypse and certain things to take place within their lifetime. The same like the early Christians in the scriptures, because they was waiting for certain things to happen in their lifetime as well too. You know what I mean? So Rastafari, I know we was remember man, he was waiting for the Black Star line out, the 9 miles and 10 miles. You understand? Black Star line coming into the harbor and certain vibes and things. Rastaman getting tickets to go to Africa and certain things, you know what I mean? So we rejoice in all of them history, you know. It I know like you're looking back to try to make a mockery and no elder, no kind of thing like that at all. But it's within the evolution of knowledge and certain things, enough early perceptions kind of adjusted or even phase out within the timing, you know.
But what you think about,
and like,
sorry, I come right forward to you. What you think about that whole concept of what the king was saying, what King Aisha was saying, that I know you know about this the God then. We don't even speak his name. I mean, they have many different, even in the same Akan tradition, they have different terms for God in the sense like how you would hear Jehovah Jireh or in a sense,
Well, Rastafari is the new name. Like that what the elders and them say. Rastafari is the new name of God.
okay.
And it's terrible amongst men and heathen don't like Jah name, you know. So it's like. So I overstand when we say in God we have to, as he say, was the motivation? Is it just about trying to glorify His Majesty, like as apart from yourself, or if it's to be within the I and I? Now Rastafari I and I is a deep theological kind of implication within I and I, because it means that you're connected to yourself and to the divinity of all, to the universe, everything one time within the I and I. You understand? So all of that is Rastafari indigenous concept of a theology what the Rasta man create then, the concept of I and them kind of vibes there. So you know I mean, Rastafari is come like an exemplary persona within the history as the emblem of Godhead within Rastafari culture, you know. That's why perception is right now.
Yes, my lord. Any of the kings coming in? You anything to say on that one? King I just are you there? You want to say anything on that one there?
I feel like everything now. We'll click back in.
My lord.
Yes. I was just asking, I know you're quiet for a little moment, if you wanted to come in and say anything on anything you heard thus far. Very good reasoning, man. I think positive vibes. And is that nothing nobody can really run from, man? It's the, as even the I said, on a different level, man of God, man and woman of right is the God in flesh. Give thanks. Yes, my lord.
True.
Anything to add?
Yes, far right. Yeah, man. Give thanks again, you know. Yeah. Rastafari, you know, cause when you check it, a lot of ones over the passage of time within the organ of Rastafari wouldn't call His Majesty God. A lot of ones don't want to call His Majesty God because them obviously say, boy, if you turn the word a invert way, you're going to get a different name. See, so once lick against that, and then again, God know when someone talk about God, them kind of look on God as something that is mythical type of thing, supernatural, as me the Virgin said. See? But I think the reality is, when you look on us as a people, you would have to say that we are a supernatural set of people. See, especially us in the diaspora here. When you check what we has gone through, you know, what we go through as a people, we must be supernatural to still stand today. You know, we stand the test of time, you know, with everything that we go through in the West. So being Rastafari, as I said, enough of the ones them see God as as this mythical thing, and it is, God is a spirit. That is what one's attached God to. So because Haile Selassie is a living man, one's now go describe him as God. So I just say, boy, what is God? What is really God? If it's not us, then what is it? Because what description one would put on God? How would you describe God? As Brother Isern was saying in early reasoning, you cannot really comprehend something that you don't fully understand. See? So, but the reality of that is it would have to be us being that supernatural and being that God, because we can comprehend us, we can work out how we look. You know what I mean? You can know when a man good from when a man not good. You see? A man just want to open his mouth, you just want to look on a man, and you know what I mean? You know. So, what is God? It's still boiled down to man and woman. You see? Because that is what we can comprehend, that is what we see. You know? Rastafari.
Yes, I. Let man just interject a little bit, following up on the brethren. Yeah. Well, you see, it's just how we relate to this whole God term, right? Because, okay, in no time, I man learn different definition about it. I remember I said no time, it's about in comparison with like a man early time arising, 1992, 93 coming up. So, you see it. Nowadays, I now can feel comfortable with the idea that we are God and goddesses. In the early days, nobody can put themselves in that particular title. You will not call yourself God. Even Christians still have that in themselves. They're not really comfortable with this idea like we are God. Them not affirm these things. You see it? So the idea changed now. And God now become the highest title that one human being can attain to, rather than that which is responsible for creating everything. And you see there where the contention is between these two definitions. Because when you say God, people automatically interpret you to be referring to this entity that's responsible for sun, moon, star, everything. And when you want to bring that down,
Dear brother, I still see him on the boat. Oh, exactly 60. He kind of went out there. Exactly 16 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock. Hey, just touching the one Oden talking about the one Westmoreland. Yeah, the brother was, as always, going good in his explanation. Their family, as I said, we're going to have to seal up about 25 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock this evening. We're speaking of Rastafari and the concept of God. We're speaking about the African concept of God, and you know, we're not here to convince nobody about anything or twist nobody's arm or this is the right way and you have the wrong way. Or we're just here to share ideas, and even the ideas that have been shared this evening to me. Anyone that is of an open mind, you would have gathered a lot of good information that you yourself can take home and sit down. Well, you may be home already, but you know what I mean. To sit down with the knowledge, go over the video, listen over the information again, and especially if you're, as Isa just said, especially if you're rising up and you're just coming into consciousness, this is a good discussion for you, because in the next 10 years you're gonna find that you're thinking different, especially if you're a free-minded person. Once you're not too stiff-necked and religious and you're thinking free, yeah man, your ideas will be different in 10 years. You're gonna say, wait, no man, I look at this thing differently now. So these sort of conversations, that's why we have these sort of discussions, different perspectives, different avenues, different angles to the same subject area. Yes, my lord. Any of the kings have anything to put in? I know, again, Rasta was going in, but went out.
Well, yeah, man. Well, give thanks for coming on the panel again. I like the reason with the Rastas and them who have something to say, and you know what I mean. Give thanks. And I would have liked to hear Rasta thing, because as you did tell me, it's him who really pick out the topic for tonight's discussion and them kind of thing, But it must continue, you know what I mean? It's a growing vibes. Give thanks for the listening audience. And one thing, priest, it's on the way for we to see what's going on, no comments and them kind of vibes.
I was just going to read on the YouTube here, a comment here from who is this, Rastafari DNA, and they're saying God is holy, God is love, God is righteous, God is wise, God is omnipotent, God is omniscient, God is
omniscient.
Say it again.
Omniscient.
That's it. God is omnipresent and God is eternal. And I think you see, like, all of that omnipresent and all the omniscient and all of that stuff there. You see, this is one of the reasoning that King Israel would put across, that I don't think it's anything personal with His Majesty, but He's anybody, that you can't really point out no one that is here and still over there, and that is in China and still in Japan, But I think it's a little higher than that, because one thing Ras Hijacking said is that God is a spirit, which I do agree with that. Not that I take away the physical aspect, but the eternal spirit is definitely within all. Just looking at some other comments there. Basically.
So when you wanna, if you say God is an idea, agree with that one?
When you say idea, give me a little, because I was going to ask the king that too, when he was talking about we take out rocks, I was going to ask him if he consider man-made God. That's what I don't know if that's the angle that you are coming from. I mean,
when I say it come like when mankind come from an earlier stage of thinking, like how you say we progress through watching physical objects and then different animals, and then they anthropomorph it into human itself and them thing. It come like mankind growing into trying to get understanding about reality and the world that you live in. You understand? So it coming like just the ideas and things growing through time and getting more refined into ideas of God and theology and these kind of things, because some people will tell you, say, is a linear progression out of polytheism to monotheism. You understand? Especially they put like monotheism above the concept of polytheism. You understand what I'm saying? So it come like it getting more ideas. Cause I show, just like I was saying now, Rastafari in this time in 2023 have different theological ideas than Rastafari from 1930, 1940, 1950 coming forward. You know what I mean? So even through that short space of time, a century or less, it's seeing it having advances or changes then evolution in ideas. So that kind of way.
True, my Lord, the time and us, I must say, I would have to say, it's some important events that I have to take care of every Thursday night now. That has put a little time issue on this program here, but if it wasn't important events, I don't know how it go. But we give thanks for the moment this evening. Almost have to bring a kind of hard stop to the program, but I'm gonna just leave everyone to give a final sealing up to the congregation. King Hijacking, he could just say a bless up to the ones. They don't know me and you have a program to do on that move that you made to Ghana.
My Lord, blessed love, honorable family. Yeah, man, give thanks, honorable priest, for the invitation, and give thanks to all of the other panel, Ras and Kuma, Dread, and Rasta Cern. Yeah, man, give thanks, for all of the information share, and bless up to all of the ones them we are tuning in, and Radio No, and also on the YouTube. Yeah, man, manners and respect.
Yeah, man, and their input was extremely valuable,
My Lord, give thanks.
King
I just
Yes, brother.
I'm a listener, love the man program, particularly like the one with the Bridging Day. So have some association with Steepers. I don't remember his name, but the brother they be really powerful,
Have some relation we do?
Steel
Oh, true.
Yeah, they're man.
Brother Giza.
Yes, I man, yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Great platform still,
Yeah, I think him there somewhere in Africa. There, I think somewhere. Yeah.
Well, and I want to say I just watch Hijacking Mindset too, and give thanks for the works and within Rastafari media and the things where you just highlight and the conversations where you just facilitate and thing, King. Respect for that. Yeah, and I want to tell you too, I have a YouTube channel where you could type in my same name and Kuma Dread, and I just put up thing about His Majesty and His Majesty speech and different little vibes put in into say. I like to check out that too,
Yes, yeah, man, I will go over there and subscribe, my lord.
Yes, I give thanks.
Yes, far right. Yeah, man, give thanks, my lord, and Empress.
Well, all once, I'll just seal it as this, blessed love, and you don't know, at least for the regular, we're coming again next Thursday. And of course, we'll feature King Hijacking sometime again, man. It's different ones we bring into, and build the family and build the reasoning. Enough love.
Yes,
so, blessed love to
give thanks again, Rastafari. Give thanks to the family. Bless up everybody international. Rastafari.
Blessed love.
Yeah, man. Love and respect to all ones. Great program. Love the energy.
Give thanks. Yes, family, give thanks to the love. Give thanks to each and everyone that has been with us, even from the Tiger's Nest, and now into Rasta Round Table, and give thanks to even the YouTube family, for your commitment. But remember, this is really initially a Radio Anu exclusive. As you know, we are defending Black Pride and we're defending our hub. YouTube is not our hub. We have our own radio station. We give thanks for a little space on the tube, but sometimes when you say what they don't like what you're saying, they just pull down your video and even ban you and all sorts of different things. So we have created a space of our own, albeit on the internet, which doesn't belong to us neither, but still it's a bit more independent. So we give thanks for coming into the Tiger's Nest, in the Tiger's Temple, Radio Anu, international flavor, the universal spice. See, like we're gonna come off of YouTube now. Radio Anu continues to go. Yeah, family, give thanks, man. Love and majesty.